You know that feeling when a trip to your favorite local cafe just flows effortlessly, but then calling your internet provider feels like, well, getting a root canal? Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're tearing down the walls and looking at the hidden architecture behind the services we interact with every single day. Because here's the thing, designing a truly flawless service process, it's not just about crossing your fingers and hoping for the best. It takes serious, meticulous planning. Honestly, it's a lot like staging a hit Broadway play.
And this brings us to the ultimate destination. We are hurtling toward a future of totally unprecedented economies of scale, where robotic and AI assistants are working right alongside us. It's literally a massive revolution unfolding across the entire service sector right now. But, and this is a big but, before we can seamlessly hand that silver platter over to a robot, we absolutely have to perfect the underlying blueprint of our human and system processes first. Otherwise, we're just automating chaos.
So here is our playbill for today's explainer. We'll be moving through mapping the service journey, then looking at the three-act performance, fail-proofing an emotion, fixing broken service processes, customers as co-creators, and finally, the rise of service robots. Let's just dive right in.
Section 1. Mapping the service journey. Let's look at how we actually draft the script for our service before the curtains even open.
To get started, we need to understand the difference between flowcharting and blueprinting. Think of flowcharting like a stick figure drawing, right? It just shows the basic sequence of steps a customer flows through. Blueprinting, however, that is a full-blown architectural schematic. It reveals the entire ecosystem. A service blueprint maps out the complete customer journey from that very first interaction all the way down to the final delivery. It captures the simultaneous, real-time interactions of the customer, the employees, and those invisible service systems running quietly in the background. Now, what's really fascinating about this blueprint is how it divides every business by this invisible boundary called the line of visibility. So, everything above this line is your front stage. This is what the audience, your customer, actually sees, from your staff to the physical environment. But everything below it, that's the backstage. This is where your team does all their invisible tasks, heavily supported by vital IT systems. And it all boils down to this absolutely crucial point. If your backstage kitchen is an absolute chaos, your front stage dining room performance is going to fall apart every single time. Part 2, the three-act performance. Let's see how this blueprint actually plays out over time, using a classic restaurant experience as our stage. Just like a play, your service has acts. Act 1 is your introduction, getting seated, receiving the menus. Act 2 is the delivery of the core product itself, ordering and actually enjoying your food and drinks. But watch out, because Act 2 is exactly where those little fail points just love to hide, like a server's completely unreadable handwriting causing the kitchen to fire the wrong dish. And then we hit Act 3, where the drama concludes. These final actions absolutely must move quickly and smoothly, because think about it, if the bill is wrong or the payment process takes forever, the customer leaves with a bad taste in their mouth, completely forgetting how amazing that steak was in Act 2. Section 3, fail-proofing and emotion. Because even the absolute best scripts have potential fail points, let's look at how we protect the performance and manage the audience's emotional journey. To protect against those fail points, we build clever little guardrails called pokayokes, which is actually a brilliant Japanese term for mistake-proofing. Once you identify a weak spot in your blueprint, you introduce a pokayoke to make it virtually impossible for things to go wrong. Think about how an ATM literally forces you to take your debit card back before it hands over your cash. You can't walk away without it. And what's really interesting here is that we don't just need these fail-safes to guide our employees, we actually need them to protect our customers from messing up the performance too. Now, think about your last truly great dinner out. The secret behind why it felt so magical is actually sequencing. You always want to start strong to build a positive trend. But if there's going to be a painful part of the process, say waiting 20 minutes for a table, you have to get that bad experience over with early. The rule of thumb is to segment the pleasure but combine the pain into one swift moment. From there, you build up to a massive emotional peak right in the middle of the service, and always finish on a high note. Which brings us to part 4, fixing broken service processes. So what happens when the play gets terrible reviews and your backstage processes start totally unraveling? Well, when your staff is spending more time putting out fires and making apologies than actually delivering the service, yeah, a complete script rewrite is mandatory. You'll know things are fundamentally broken when you start seeing a massive spike in checking and control activities. Basically, if your team is drowning in exception processing and your customers are constantly complaining that doing business with you is just unnecessarily difficult, it is definitely time for a teardown and redesign.
So what do? You gather your team, you lay out that blueprint, and you ruthlessly cut the dead weight. Eliminate any step that doesn't actively add value. Fix those frustrating bottlenecks, and look for opportunities to shift simple, repetitive tasks to self-service. The goal here is incredibly straightforward. Drastically shorter wait times and higher satisfaction for your customer alongside massive time and money saved for your business. It's a win-win. Section 5. Customers as co-creators. Let's dive into how modern services are increasingly putting the audience to work. Here's a wild thought. Today, your customers are essentially your partial employees. Seriously. Whether they're scanning their own groceries at the supermarket or sweating over building IKEA furniture, they are actively co-creating the service with their own physical and mental energy. And because they directly influence the final quality of the outcome, you basically have to recruit and train them. Just like any new hire, you need to develop their trust, clearly teach them how to use your new tools, and heavily publicize the benefits so they don't just resist the change. Now, self-service is an incredibly delicate balance. When it works, we absolutely love it. We love the convenience of skipping the line, having total flexibility, and saving time. But let's be real, nothing induces sheer rage quite like a frozen kiosk or that dreaded unexpected item in the bagging area alert. Am I right? If the system crashes or the interface is confusing, the customer gets insanely frustrated. We have to design these systems flawlessly because when you're making the customer do the work, a bad design instantly turns convenience into a total nightmare. Finally, Section 6, the rise of service robots. Let's explore the ultimate backstage to front stage revolution. This right here perfectly illustrates the ultimate division of labor. Let the robots handle the simple, repetitive data crunching. They have incredible cognitive and analytical power, but essentially zero emotional intelligence. Humans, on the other hand, absolutely shine in high empathy, incredibly complex situations where a genuine emotional connection is required. The most effective show-stopping services of the future won't be purely robotic or purely human. They are going to be delivered by perfectly integrated human-robot teams. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to take a hard look at your own service blueprint. Are you prepared for this shift? The future belongs to businesses that can seamlessly blend cold, hard automation with genuine human warmth. The tools to build this flawless performance are literally sitting right in front of you. So I'll leave you with this. When you cast your next great production, is your star employee going to be a human or a machine?